A vicious attack on a vagrant recorded and circulated on social media. Hear what the officer in charge of Grand Bahama has to say. That story coming up in the Bahamas tonight, the Northern Edition.
The Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition starts now.
I'm Shashina Roll. As always, it is so great to have you with us. Topping news: police on Grand Bahama arraigning 4 suspects in the Freeport Magistrate Court for a string of robberies that occurred over the past few weeks. 19-year-old Thomas Tucker of Bayshore Road in 8 Mile Walk, Richard Munnings, 24, of Oates Lane, 27-year-old Jermico Ferguson, aka Timiko Farquharson of Drum Street, and 24-year-old Delroy Hepburn of Pinedale, 8 Mile Walk, were all arraigned before Magistrate Debbie Ferguson in Magistrate Court Number 1 on 1 count of armed robbery, 1 count of conspiracy to commit armed robbery, receiving and possession of an unlicensed firearm. They were not required to enter a plea. A preliminary inquiry into this matter will be held on October 1st. In the meantime, they have been remanded to Her Majesty's Prison. Jermico Ferguson was also charged with deceit of a public officer. He pleaded not guilty to the charge and was granted cash bail in the amount of $1,000. Additionally, Ferguson and Hepburn were arraigned before Magistrate Charlton Smith on 2 counts of armed robbery. They were not required to enter a plea. A preliminary inquiry into that matter will be held on November 10th. They were also remanded to Her Majesty's Prison in New Providence, and this is in connection with 2 armed robberies reported on June 23rd. Delroy Hepburn was also arraigned before Magistrate Gwen Claude in the 8 Mile Rock Court with 1 count of armed robbery. He was not required to enter a plea. A preliminary inquiry on this charge will be held on November 6th, and this is in connection with the matter reported to police in late May. He was remanded to Her Majesty's Prison in New Providence. Meantime, police in Abaco need your help tonight as they search for 3 suspects believed to be responsible for an early morning armed robbery in Treasure Key. The incident reportedly occurred around 4 o'clock this morning at a business establishment in Treasure Key. Police say a female employee was accosted by the 3 men, one armed with a handgun, who demanded cash and proceeded to break and enter the company's safe and made off with an undetermined amount of money. Now, the suspects, who were reportedly wearing dark clothing and their faces were covered, later escaped in the company's gray 2004 Nissan van. Police are investigating and are appealing to anyone with any information that can assist to contact them at 367-3437, 367-2560, 911-919, or the nearest police station. Tonight, police are investigating a disturbing incident that occurred in the downtown area. A man believed to be a vagrant was reportedly attacked while sleeping on the grounds of a government building. The incident is being widely circulated on social media sites. Officer in charge of Grand Bahama, Emmerich Seymour, was taken aback as he watched the video posted on social media of an alleged vagrant as he was viciously attacked, while a witness recorded the incident with what appeared to be a cell phone. The video shows the vagrant sleeping on the floor at the Freeport post office when a man approached him asking why he was sleeping there. In an attempt to remove the vagrant, he allegedly used a bottle, pushing it harshly in the victim's head. Seymour says while the vagrant is in breach of the law for being at the local post office without permission, he says absolutely no one has the right to abuse another in such a way.
I think the individual appeared to be taking advantage of a situation, and of course taking advantage of someone who's who's in a position to really defend himself, and so he's wrong again. As I mentioned, that is it's an offense against human nature, and I decry and detest such action.
On the video, the alleged perpetrator apparently takes the bottle and throws it at the victim, who then collapsed on the ground. This video was posted on various sites, scores of Bahamians giving their views, many calling this action wrong and offensive. In the United States, there has been a trend of persons abusing vagrants or homeless persons, and in some instances, those victims have died.
And we don't want that to happen here in Grand Bahama, nowhere in the Bahamas. And so, I say to those persons who may have contributed, or who has the propensity to, who has the intent to please desist, because once we find out, and of course, what we're going to do too, we're going to investigate this video, and of course, we're going to see where the person or persons responsible, who they are, and of course, if our investigation lead in the direction, we bring charges against them, because we want to set an example for the rest of the members of the public that they are not to take advantage of people, particularly people and in situations and states such as that.
And get this, Seymour says the eyewitness recording the video can also be charged in a case like this.
Because it seems as if what was done in this particular case was malicious. Okay, so the malicious intent on the part of those persons involved, and we want to ask them to cease and desist for that. But we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna do a full-scale investigation in this matter, and of course determine where we can bring charges, and of course we'll be levying those charges.
The officer in charge of Grand Bahama says persons should call the police and not take the law into their own hands.
It doesn't appear as if they were or they want to assist. They deliberately, according to the video, they deliberately seem to have assaulted that individual, and so we want to send a stern warning out to that particular individual, and send a stern warning out to those persons who may intend to do such action in the future to desist, and of course let the police report the matter to the police so we can take the appropriate action.
Now, police have confirmed that a complaint was filed in connection with this incident, and they have launched a full investigation into the apparent attack. ACP Seymour also confirmed that the suspect in this case is known to the police and was arrested a short time after our exclusive interview this afternoon. And ZNS News also contacted the Freeport Post Office. Officer in charge Laureen Maycock says she is aware of the incident that happened on the grounds of the post office. She says while they have a recurring challenge with vagrancy at the local post office, in no way do they condone this type of behavior. The statement goes on to say that the matter has been forwarded to the police and an active investigation is ongoing. Switching gears now, the government to begin its educational campaign this week regarding the plan to extend duty-free concessions to East and West Grand Bahama. Earlier this month, the government of the Bahamas, through the Tariff Amendment Bill 2014, provided for extension of duty-free exemptions to East and West Grand Bahama. The Ministry of Grand Bahama, in conjunction with the Ministry of Finance and other stakeholders, will hold 2 town meetings this week to make the public more aware of the specifics regarding these amendments. The first meeting will be held in the West Grand Bahama District at the St. Stephen's Anglican Church in 8 Mile Rock on Thursday evening at 6 o'clock. And then on Friday, the focus will shift to the East. A town meeting will take place at the East End Primary School in High Rock at 6 p.m. Prospective business owners, and the general public are invited to attend these meetings in East and West Grand Bahama. Stay with us, there's more news coming up right after this.
Bringing news that matters to you. You're watching the Bahamas Tonight Northern Edition.
Welcome back. He has made a name for himself on the African continent as an African safari tour guide. Tonight he's giving his take on the local tourism industry and what should be done to encourage more nature-based experiences. Megan Shepard has this story.
TV show host of Tracks Across Africa, Ivan Carter was born in Zimbabwe, Africa. Carter now operates guided safari hunting tours in Africa with the aim of educating clients on conservation through hunting. Carter and his family moved to Grand Bahama a few years ago, and he says while the country is extremely beautiful, more must be done to protect our waters.
I would love to see a little more adherence and a little more policing of our natural resources. There was an article in the newspaper yesterday about a couple of big boats that were spotted off Salkei, and they said that there were hundreds of poachers on those boats. I really hope that there was a quick reaction follow up there, because everybody talks about the conch season and everybody talks about the lobster season and whatever, and everybody complains that they're getting less and less. Well, of course they're getting less and less because there's not sufficient controls, and it's a wildlife resource. It just comes out of the ocean, but there's also a limit.
Carter says the Bahamian people must put emphasis on the preservation of marine life in order for future generations to be able to enjoy it.
Just like everywhere else in the world, the population is going up and there's more mouths to feed. If people don't have a way of making money, they're going to feed themselves from the ocean. They're going to just catch and eat the conch. And so it's very important that I think that we really look at that as a renewable resource. And I'd love to see more focus from the Bahamians on preserving and protecting what we've got in the oceans. We have some of the most beautiful oceans from a tourism perspective of anywhere on the planet. We've got some incredible fisheries, and I think that the management and the policing of those, making sure that people don't come from other countries and poach it out, making sure that quotas are policed and adhered to, I think that that really is. Otherwise, 10 years down the road, we're going to look and say, man, this used to be a beautiful conch flat, or north of Grand Bahama used to have a lot of lobster.
As our country benefits tremendously from tourism, he says he believes residents must be more educated about the value of the tourism product. He says it is our duty as a people to be more hands-on.
People love to go on vacation where it's beautiful and where it's safe. And I think self-policing of some of the crime, you can look around some of the settlements, it's very dirty as far as trash and whatever, and it doesn't take very much for the school kids to clean those areas up and make those beaches what we know that people want to visit. You know, there's a couple of miles of this island which is beautifully kept, it's beautifully maintained, there's big hotels and a strong flow of tourists. Why don't people go to Barbary Beach more? Is because there's reports of crime that goes on there. There's a lot of trash on the beach. It's not a very difficult job or a very expensive job to clean all of that up. And I think that, it only takes one bit of bad news and someone tells 10 people. If it's great news, they tell 2. That's just the way of the world.
Megan Shepard, ZNS Network News.
As ZNS Northern Edition prepares to bring you the news live from West End beginning next Monday, the Ministry of Tourism is also gearing up to launch a number of exciting new initiatives in the Western District. Tonight, Tourism's General Manager on Grand Bahama says this partnership comes at a time when their aim is to revitalize the tourism economy in that community. As the Ministry of Tourism, along with other corporate partners, team up with ZNS for 1 week of news in West End, General Manager of the local tourism office says this venture could not have come at a better time. She says this initiative gives the Ministry of Tourism an awesome opportunity to highlight the quaint community of West End.
We're always looking for forums to discuss our various initiatives because the question always is, what is the Ministry of Tourism doing? Well, through this show, ZNS has allowed us an opportunity to demonstrate what the Ministry of Tourism is doing to bring this destination back on stream and to enhance the visitor experience so that they not only come once and spend a few nights, but to encourage repeat business to Grand Bahama Island. And we find that it's experiences like what you find to the east and west that calls for a repeat destination experience.
She says the tourism office has been mandated to bring the destination of West End back to where it once was.
We are mandated to open a museum in West End that speaks to the history of Grand Bahama, actually. We are also mandated to bring back on stream the West End Move. And we are at a point in this destination where we are receiving more business than we have in the past several years. And this year alone, we're looking for an increase of about 35% in visitor arrivals. And we have to have something for our guests to do. We promote this destination as a multi-experience destination, and the West End experience is one of those experiences where you go and have your conch salad, get your little walk along the shore, and it's a village environment that it's totally different from Freeport.
Bethel says West End offers a true authentic experience, and that's what people all over the world travel to the Bahamas for.
They left that back home. They want to taste the guava duff. They want to taste the conch salad. They want to have the panny cake. They don't have a clue what it is, but they want to have it because it's different from what they would have gotten back home. So this show allows us to represent our authentic experience. So it's very timely. We are happy to be on board, and we are able to share with the community of Grand Bahama what the Ministry of Tourism is doing.
ZNS News will produce 1 week of live television from July 28th to August 1st in West End. Well, the Grand Bahama Youth Choir back home now from an historic and unforgettable trip to the nation's capital. The choir has traveled internationally since its inception 5 years ago, but for the choir, this recent trip was extra special. Megan Shepard tells us why.
The Grand Bahama Youth Choir back home after spending more than a week in New Providence. Artistic Director Kevin Tomlinson says they were scheduled to travel internationally, but those plans were canceled, and he believes that was due to divine intervention. Tomlinson says the group spent their time representing Grand Bahama in a major way through several performances, including at the Bahamian Icon Awards, live on Bahamas at Sunrise, and performing for the Prime Minister.
From our performances at the Mount Tabor Baptist Church, BFM, that Sunday, up to our performance for the inauguration of Her Excellency, the new Governor General, along with our performance in the Pompey Square, along with one of the greatest moments I think I will never forget, the moment we took the stage on the Independence Park there in Nassau on the national stage for the Independence celebration. It was a moment that these kids would treasure.
Tomlinson says, although the group has performed on many international stages, performing at home during the nation's independence meant so much more.
Coming back home, the children are electrified. I mean, they were really exhausted because they worked hard every day. I gave them a day where they got a chance to enjoy all the amenities of Atlantis. And they were very grateful for that. But they got a chance to really and truly meet, feel, and touch persons that they would read about in the social studies book. I mean, it was just an amazing trip, Megan. One that we will never forget, and that goes down in the history of our traveling as being one of the most profound moments.
Tomlinson says the group received an overwhelming welcoming response while in New Providence. They were asked by Bishop Neil Ellis to perform at several events, including a gathering conference in Florida in 2015.
We also got invited by the ambassador to Cuba. They want us to come to Cuba. In fact, she wants to come to Cuba before the Christmas because of a special event that they're having down there in Cuba. The new Sage of Affairs at the U.S. Embassy was very moved and asked the kids. She said she'll be in touch because she wants them to take a trip to perform for them. So it was just an amazing trip. And it opened a lot of doors, I mean, thanks to the Prime Minister for the personal time he gave the children, along with Commissioner Greenslade, the personal time they gave.
The group is celebrating its 5th anniversary this month. Megan Shepard, ZNS Network News.
Stay with us. Ricardo Lightborn has a check on sports when we come back.
Hey everybody, it's Sports Time. I'm Ricardo Lightborn. The Peace on the Street basketball tournament was held at the Kendall Isaacs Gym down there in New Providence. 2 of those titles came back to Grand Bahama yesterday. The Reach Out Ministry Saints returned home Sunday from New Providence from the Peace on the Street basketball tournament with trophies and lots of smiles. Reach Outs captured the under 13 and 16 titles, and Coach Dudley Sade says it was a total team effort and mission accomplished.
To go in Nassau to play against 35 teams, the teams were real good. All the teams we played, we actually blew them out. Our guys was on a different level on this trip. They wanted it so bad. But Ricardo, we won this for 2 guys who were part of our program. I didn't say much to these guys. Shaquille Hanks, who were part of our program, and Kareem Bullitt. So this championship is for those 2 guys who passed away, who was part of our program, who went there to try to win. But we brought it home this time for those 2 guys. It's real special.
For the Hot Shots, winning the titles meant a lot. Denaro Say, Jermaine Ferguson, and Devontae Jennings said it best.
It was my 5th year, but the first 4 years I was a little younger. I had experience playing. This year, me and my teammates had to bring it home.
Tell me, for you, what was it like to be playing against all those guys, man?
It was good, man. It was hard too. It's my first year and I like it.
There you go. What about you? You're a champion. How do you feel about that?
I mean, me and my teammates just gone over there with a heart to win, and we come back and we bring home a trophy. And this is my first year, and my first year you got a trophy, and I feel very proud.
Come on, Reach Out Ministries. You are the Peace on the Street basketball champions, and congratulations. was great for those kids yesterday. Well, let me tell you, the Michael Speedbells Thompson Golf Challenge is tomorrow, folks. It'll be at the Ruby Golf Course. The Los Angeles Lakers legend received a red carpet treatment this afternoon at the Grand Bahama International Airport. Tourism officials, Sports Federation officials, sports legends all welcome the former NBA star to Grand Bahama. Speedbell says it's great to be home, and also he's got a tournament to aid his foundation that will actually be played tomorrow.
Well, the tournament's going to be a lot of fun, and this is something that we hope to be able to do annually here in Grand Bahama and other places around the Bahamas. This is set up the foundation to help other young boys and girls who want to become athletes in the Bahamas, to try to raise some money and some funds to help promote education and the proper way for young boys and girls to, move ahead through basketball, through sports, and they could use that to go off and get an education the way I was able to, the way Rick Fox was able to. Something like this is long overdue, and if we could pay back to the youth of the Bahamas and raise funds to help promote sports in the Bahamas, education, to me it's a beautiful combination.
Bahamas Golf Federation President Craig Flowers also on the flight, and full support of Speedbells Foundation and also the development of golf here in the country.
It's an amazing team. When the Ministry of Tourism, the Bahamas Golf Federation, and the Michael Speedbell Thompson Foundation gets together, we expect a lot of things to happen. It's really, really exciting. We're looking forward to some great weather here tomorrow to play some great golf, and we'll see what happens.
Now the draw for the scramble is tonight, 7 o'clock at the Grand Lucana Resort. The tournament has a 9 o'clock shotgun start tomorrow morning, and they tell me that I can play. They don't know what in the world they're trying to do. They can dig that golf course out tomorrow. Little League Baseball is going on, but we will get to that tomorrow.